If your impossible miracle still hasn't arrived, stay with me until the very end. Saint Anthony of Padua is ready to surprise you. Maybe your heart is heavy today. Maybe you're battling sickness, a broken family, or a financial emergency that has stolen your sleep. This is not just another moment. It is a divine appointment. Heaven doesn't miss a cry, and St. Anthony never ignores a desperate case. This is the moment your miracle begins. You were not led here by accident. There is a reason your eyes are reading these words. Something in your soul has been searching. You've tried, you've prayed, and still the pain lingers. But there is one who specializes in finding lost things, who restores what time tried to erase. This very powerful prayer to St. Anthony is not ordinary. It's for impossible requests, for the restoration of homes, for prayers that work instantly. Let the miraculous prayer today awaken your faith. If you believe this moment was meant for you, write in the comments, "Glory to God, I'm ready for my miracle." Saint Anthony of Padua, we turn to you in this sacred moment, carrying the weight of our worries, our tears, and our hope. You who are known for finding lost things, come now to find the pieces of our broken hearts. Intercede for all who are watching and praying for an urgent miracle. For those who face financial emergencies, silent illnesses, and torn family ties. We ask not only for relief, but for complete restoration of family relationships. Let your voice rise to heaven on our behalf, delivering the cries we can no longer speak. This is our powerful Catholic prayer for miracles, and we know you are listening. We are not here by chance, but by divine design. You, Saint Anthony, have been the answer in desperate cases when all else failed, when every door seemed shut. Today, we place before you every impossible request, every pain that no one else sees. Bring healing, bring peace, bring light where darkness has grown. Let this miraculous prayer to Saint Anthony unlock blessings we never imagined possible. Whisper our names to God and let him move through your faithful intercession. For those who are weary, may this be the beginning of something holy. Saint Anthony, carry our cries for financial advancement, for family restoration, for urgent help into the arms of God. Lift up the widows, the parents with sick children, the anxious hearts burdened by debt and despair. You are known not just as a saint, but as a miracle worker, and we trust in your favor. Don't let this be just another prayer. Let this be the one that changes everything. For those still listening, don't go yet. What comes next may be the prayer that works instantly, the infallible prayer to Saint Anthony that opens the heavens wide. If you believe Saint Anthony is already standing before God with your prayer, type, "Amen, Saint Anthony, I trust in you." There are moments in life when everything feels like it's slipping through your fingers. You pray, you cry, you wait, and nothing changes. But what if this moment, right here, is not a delay, but the beginning of your answer? The prayer to St. Anthony isn't just about what's been lost, it's about what's about to be restored. When you call on his name, you're not just hoping, you're connecting with a saint known for miracles, even in the most desperate cases. He doesn't just bring things back, he brings them back better. Many people have experienced the impossible turning into reality through this very powerful prayer to Saint Anthony. Not because it's magic, but because it moves the heart of God. If you've been crying out for a sign, this is it. Maybe it's not what you expected, maybe it's more. You're not just praying for a miracle, you're stepping into it. What if you could stop surviving and start healing? What if the thing you thought was forever broken could be made whole again? God uses Saint Anthony in impossible requests, and he's not done writing your story. This could be the day your family restoration begins, or the moment your financial emergency begins to turn into a testimony. You're not far from breakthrough. You're one prayer away. People say, "I've tried everything," but they haven't tried surrendering completely. Not just saying a prayer, but believing it has already been answered. That's the heart of the prayer that works instantly. Saint Anthony doesn't deal with delays. He moves in God's time, and God's time is often now. Have you ever seen a mother cry out for her child? That's the kind of faith we need here, the kind that says, "I won't let go until heaven moves." And heaven will move, because this is a miraculous prayer today. It reaches the places that medicine, money, and logic can't. It heals what doctors couldn't name. Sometimes the thing we lost wasn't physical, it was spiritual. Maybe it was your peace, or your joy, or your trust. Through the miraculous prayer to Saint Anthony, even those invisible things can be found again. He is the saint of finding lost things, yes, but also the saint of healing broken souls. You don't need to have the perfect words. You don't need to feel worthy. You just need to believe that urgent help is available right now through faith. Saint Anthony has responded before, and he will respond again. Your voice is enough. Your tears are a language he understands. What happens when you pray from the heart and trust the result? Miracles happen, not always in the way you imagined, but always in the way you need. Powerful Catholic prayers for miracles aren't fancy, they're honest. And that honesty touches heaven. It opens doors you didn't know existed. There was once a man who had lost his job, his marriage, and nearly his mind. He prayed this infallible prayer to Saint Anthony, not for riches, but for peace. Within days, he had an opportunity he never applied for. Within weeks, his wife returned. Within months, he was whole again. Not perfect, but whole. Another woman prayed this prayer during a deep financial crisis. She was about to lose her home. She had nowhere else to turn. She prayed with everything she had left, her tears, her trust, her time. And just as the eviction notice came, so did the unexpected check. Some call it luck. She calls it Saint Anthony. Children have been healed, addictions have been broken, marriages restored, not by chance, but by grace, by faith, by the unseen hand of God moving through this prayer to Saint Anthony. When you believe that something good is about to happen, you make space for it. God never ignores a humble heart, and Saint Anthony brings those hearts closer to heaven. The Bible says, "Ask and you shall receive." Indeed, but we often forget the second part, believe and do not doubt. This is the space where doubt dies, where miracles are born. If you're still reading, it means your soul is ready to believe in something beyond logic, something bigger than your problem. This is more than a moment, it's a turning point. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Don't be afraid of what hasn't worked. God specializes in what people call failures. Saint Anthony works where others walk away. He doesn't need a perfect past, just an open present. That's where the miracle begins. Not in strength, but in surrender. Financial advancement doesn't always come through banks. It often comes through bold belief. If you're in a place of financial emergency, let this be your breakthrough moment. Say it out loud. I believe my help is already coming. Let Saint Anthony carry that faith upward. Let's talk about the home. Not just the roof over your head, but the atmosphere, the love, the peace, the restoration. The restoration of homes is one of the most powerful outcomes of this prayer. Walls don't heal people. but God does, and he often starts with the heart. You are not too late, you are not too far, and you are never forgotten. The prayer that works instantly is not for the lucky, it's for the faithful. You've come this far. Don't turn away now. Stay in this moment. Saint Anthony is near. There's a reason the most broken people often experience the biggest miracles. Because when you have nothing left, faith becomes everything. And that's the kind of heart God rushes to, the kind that whispers, "Even now I still believe." Family restoration is not a fantasy, it's a promise waiting to be claimed. Maybe the phone hasn't rung in weeks. Maybe the hurt feels too deep, but love is stronger and prayer is louder than silence. Saint Anthony has brought prodigals home before. He'll do it again. If you're asking for something that seems outrageous, good. God loves bold prayers. This is the space for impossible requests, the ones that make others laugh, the ones that make heaven lean in. Don't play small with a God who moves mountains. Think about what you need right now, not just what you want, but what would truly change your life. Ask boldly, believe fully. This is the miraculous prayer to Saint Anthony, not just a routine, a release, a rescue, a miracle in motion. The next move is yours. Keep praying, keep expecting, keep listening. Something is already shifting in the unseen realm. Don't stop now. The next mystery will guide you deeper. If you believe Saint Anthony has already begun your miracle, type in the comments, "Thank you, Saint Anthony, I receive it." Not every miracle arrives with thunder. Sometimes it starts with a whisper in the soul, a quiet knowing that change is near. And this prayer, this sacred moment with Saint Anthony of Padua, is one of those whispers, the kind that wraps around your pain and speaks life into it. If you've been asking for a sign, this is it. This is your miraculous prayer today. When someone prays with all their heart, heaven listens differently. Not because God changes, but because we finally open ourselves fully. Prayer to Saint Anthony has always been about that deep surrender, the kind that invites the impossible to become real. Don't rush this. Sit with it. Let it breathe. Too often we pray once and then worry 10 times. But true faith is bold, not anxious. It believes before it sees. The one who clings to hope, even when everything else is gone, is the one who moves heaven. That's how miracles begin, through tenacity of the Spirit, through belief that refuses to die. You're not weak because you've struggled. You're strong because you're still praying, still showing up, still hoping. That's what Saint Anthony responds to, the honest heart that says, "God, I don't know how, but I still believe you can." That's when the impossible prayer that works starts working. Have you been praying for someone else? A child, a spouse, a friend lost in addiction or depression? The beauty of this very powerful prayer to Saint Anthony is that it extends beyond you. It covers those you love, and even when they don't believe, your faith stands in the gap. Miracles don't need everyone, just one who believes. What would it feel like to have peace again? Not just silence, but real peace. Deep, anchoring, restoring peace. That's part of this prayer too, not just answers, but healing. Healing for your mind, your emotions, your sleep. Peace isn't a luxury, it's a gift. And it's one Saint Anthony knows how to deliver. The pain you've been carrying in secret, he sees it. The questions you haven't dared to ask out loud, he hears them. This moment is sacred because it brings everything into the light. And what's brought into the light, God can heal. Saint Anthony is just the messenger. The miracle is from above. There are those who say faith is foolish, that prayer doesn't work, but here's what they don't know. Some people are alive today because of a single prayer. Some marriages still exist, some children were saved, some hearts kept beating. This is a prayer that works instantly, not because we deserve it, but because we believe. Financial emergencies can make us feel like we're drowning. Bills stacking up, job insecurity, debts eating away at peace. But God has never been limited by numbers. Saint Anthony has intervened for the poor, the desperate, and the faithful for centuries. Financial advancement can begin right here with one bold act of trust. You don't have to fix everything before God helps you. That's a lie the enemy whispers to keep you away from grace. You come as you are, broken, broke, scared. That's enough. And this powerful Catholic prayer for miracles honors that. It meets you in your reality and lifts you toward heaven. Some people think finding lost things only means car keys or paperwork. But sometimes the lost thing is courage, or love, or confidence. And when you pray this prayer, you invite those things back into your life. Saint Anthony isn't just about what you lost, but who you lost in the process. This prayer doesn't end when the words stop. It lingers. It works while you sleep. It moves when you're silent. That's how faith functions. It works in the background. Don't doubt just because you don't see the change yet. The seed is already planted. The roots are growing. You may be closer than you think. The breakthrough could be around the corner. It's often darkest right before the light comes. This is not the end of your story. It's the turning point. And Saint Anthony is interceding for you in this very hour. Stay the course. Keep believing. Don't underestimate the power of restoration of homes. When peace returns to your walls, everything changes. Arguments soften. Laughter returns. You sit at the table with gratitude, not tension. That's a miracle too, and it's available to those who ask in faith. Has your heart been aching for a family restoration? It's not too late, not even close. Forgiveness is possible. Reconnection is possible. Trust can be rebuilt. Saint Anthony has seen it all and restored it all. Nothing is too messy for mercy. One mother prayed this prayer for her estranged son. They hadn't spoken in 8 years. She lit a candle. She whispered her grief. And just 1 week later, he called. Tears, apologies, healing. That's not coincidence. That's Saint Anthony doing what he does best. There's a rhythm to miracles, a divine timing, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, but always perfect. This infallible prayer to Saint Anthony aligns your heart with that timing. It teaches you to expect, even when you've been disappointed before. You are allowed to pray big. You are allowed to hope again. You are allowed to believe that something wonderful is on its way. You've been through enough to know God doesn't play games with hearts. He honors the broken and rebuilds what others abandon. If today feels heavy, let it be the last day you carry that alone. Lay it all down, in your room, in your car, right now. Say, Saint Anthony, I need urgent help. And trust that your cry has echoed into heaven's courts. You are not forgotten. You may be crying, but you're still praying, and that makes you powerful. Your tears are not a sign of weakness. They're rivers that carry prayers straight to God's heart. Saint Anthony is listening, and the answer is already being written. When you feel like giving up, pray again. When it seems pointless, pray louder. When your hands are trembling, raise them anyway. Because this miraculous prayer to Saint Anthony was meant for fighters like you, the tired, the faithful, the ones still standing. The moment you said yes to this prayer, something shifted. It may not be visible yet, but it's real. The atmosphere is different, the silence is sacred, and the next part of this journey will only take you deeper into the miracle that's unfolding. If your heart feels lighter, even just a little, write in the comments, "I believe my miracle is already happening." And faith is not always loud. Sometimes it's just holding on with trembling hands, and that's enough, because in the silence of your pain, Saint Anthony hears what words can't say. This powerful Catholic prayer for miracles reaches deep into that silence and brings heaven closer. Even when your voice breaks, heaven still hears. There's something extraordinary about praying through the saints. It's not superstition, it's sacred connection. When you pray the prayer to Saint Anthony, you're asking a friend of God to walk with you, speak for you, and fight beside you. And when he intercedes, things begin to move. Saint Anthony's intercession has been called the bridge between desperation and breakthrough. His presence brings comfort when all you've known is chaos. His prayers have reunited broken families, provided for the poor, and restored joy in homes that were falling apart. This is more than tradition, it's transformation. When you say, "Saint Anthony, I need you," heaven listens. Not because he replaces God, but because he draws you closer to him. In desperate cases, his name has become a beacon. His prayers have lit the darkest places. His love for those in need mirrors the heart of Christ. Maybe you've been praying for months or even years and nothing has changed. But faith says, just one more prayer, because the next one could be the one that breaks the wall. That's what this infallible prayer to Saint Anthony is for. Those who refuse to stop knocking until the door opens. He is called the Wonder Worker for a reason. Not just for lost objects, but for finding lost things within the soul. Peace, faith, strength. Things we once had, but life slowly wore away. Through his intercession, these treasures are restored. Sometimes quietly, sometimes all at once. You might be asking, is it really possible for my situation to change? Yes, with God, it is. And through the intercession of Saint Anthony, it becomes even more tangible. He's seen the impossible bend. He's seen broken lives made beautiful, and your name is not forgotten among those miracles. When people reach out to Saint Anthony, they're not just hoping, they're trusting that urgent help will come, that the tears they cry in private will be turned into joy, that the heaviness in their chest will lift, that the waiting will not be wasted, that miracles still happen. If your heart is tired, let Saint Anthony pray with you. Let him carry your words to heaven. Let him speak on your behalf. You don't have to be strong today, you just have to be willing. Miracles often begin with a whispered, "Help me," and that whisper is enough. Sometimes we don't need more strength, we need more surrender. That's what happens in this very powerful prayer to Saint Anthony. You lay it all down, you stop striving, and you let a holy friend intercede with you and for you. There is power in that surrender. There are those who have lost everything, jobs, homes, relationships, and yet, through Saint Anthony's intercession, they found what truly matters. Restoration of homes, not just physically, but emotionally. Safe places filled with love again. That's the kind of miracle you can believe for too. This isn't about praying perfectly, it's about praying persistently. Saint Anthony responds to the faithful, not the flawless. To those who say, "I'm still here, I'm still believing," even if you've failed, even if you've doubted, he meets you right where you are and brings heaven with him. There was a man on the verge of bankruptcy. He couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. And one night, he stumbled upon this miraculous prayer to Saint Anthony. He prayed with nothing left in him, But somehow that night, peace came. And days later, so did the provision. Not luck, not chance, grace. That same grace is here now for your financial emergency, your impossible request, your quiet heartbreak. What you can't fix, God can. What you can't carry, St. Anthony will help lift. You were never meant to do this alone. You were always meant to be held. Faith doesn't eliminate storms, it carries you through them. And with St. Anthony as your intercessor, you never walk through those storms alone. He's prayed over centuries of heartbreaks, and he's still praying today for you, for your family, for your miracle. If you're praying for family restoration, know this: there is no rift too deep for God to heal. St. Anthony has brought reconciliation where lawyers failed, peace where years of silence lived. One prayer can be the beginning, and this one might be yours. You might feel unworthy, but miracles don't come to the worthy. They come to the willing, willing to believe, willing to hope, willing to pray, even when everything screams, give up. That's when St. Anthony shows up, in the moment of your smallest faith. Your impossible request might be the very thing that shows others God still moves. You think it's too late, but it's actually right on time. Miracles love the last minute. That's when they shine brightest. That's when God gets the glory, and your testimony becomes someone else's hope. Finding lost things sometimes means finding yourself again. The version of you that smiled, that dreamed, that believed. Let St. Anthony bring you back to that person. Let him remind you that hope is not dead. It's just been waiting for this prayer to wake it up. Heaven responds to bold faith. Don't just whisper your need, declare it. Say, I believe this is the moment everything changes. Speak life over your home, your finances, your body, your relationships. St. Anthony is listening, and more importantly, God is moving. Miracles don't always start with thunder. Sometimes they start with a quiet heart saying yes. Yes to faith, yes to help, yes to beginning again. That's what this prayer is. Your yes, your invitation for heaven to step in. And heaven never turns down a sincere yes. Have you written your prayer down? Sometimes it helps. Seeing the words makes them real. Try it. Write what you're believing for. Say it aloud. And trust that St. Anthony has already begun to present it before God's throne. It's already in motion. God is not far. He is near to the brokenhearted. And St. Anthony walks with those hearts daily. You don't have to understand everything. You just have to keep praying. Keep holding on. Keep believing that miraculous prayer today will open tomorrow's miracle. The next step of your journey begins here, in the stillness, in the surrender, in the powerful presence of St. Anthony's intercession. Something sacred is being prepared for you. If you trust in the intercession of St. Anthony, write, my miracle is in God's hands now. There comes a point in every prayer where words are no longer enough, a moment when the heart must kneel, not just the body. This is that moment, the turning point where your soul surrenders fully and invites the impossible, the kind of surrender St. Anthony of Padua responds to, the kind that moves heaven. True spiritual transformation doesn't happen when life is easy. It happens when we're broken, lost, and desperate. And yet we still whisper, God, I trust you. That's where miracles begin. That's when prayer to St. Anthony becomes more than a plea. It becomes a sacred offering of our very selves. There are things only heaven can fix: broken marriages, betrayals, deep loneliness, financial despair. St. Anthony knows these wounds. He's walked alongside thousands who gave up on themselves, but not on God. And not on this very powerful prayer to Saint Anthony. We spend so much time trying to control everything. But the miracle doesn't happen in the control, it happens in the release. In saying, I surrender my timeline, my pride, my fear. That's when you begin to truly pray. And that's when impossible requests become sacred possibilities. Let go of the what-ifs, of the fear, of the past, and hold on to the one who can restore what no human hand can. Saint Anthony is not distant. He is near, carrying your cries, speaking on your behalf, helping you find your way to the heart of God again. If you've been trying to hold your family together by sheer force, this is for you. Lay it down. Let Saint Anthony lift it. His miraculous prayer today reaches into every crevice of your life, even the ones you've hidden from everyone, especially those. This is not about religion, it's about relationship. The kind that says, I don't know the way forward, but I know you'll walk with me. That kind of honesty is what breaks chains. It's what makes miracles possible, because it's not your strength, it's His. People talk about giving things to God, but then they take them back the next morning. This time don't. This time let it stay surrendered. Let Saint Anthony carry it where you no longer can, and trust that He's bringing it straight to the feet of the Almighty. Have you ever prayed through tears that wouldn't stop? That's holy ground. Saint Anthony knows the language of weeping. He translates it into healing, into breakthrough, into divine intervention. This is not just a prayer that works instantly, it's a lifeline. You may not have all the right words, that's okay. Sometimes the most powerful prayers are simply, please, or I'm scared, or help. Saint Anthony hears them all. He collects them like treasures and lifts them up to God, whispering your name with reverence. What if your pain is not a punishment, but a preparation? What if your delay is the setup for a divine delivery? That's what powerful Catholic prayer for miracles teaches us, to trust the process even when we don't understand it, to believe in the unseen. Think of this prayer as a seed. You don't plant it and dig it up every hour, you plant it in faith, water it with belief, and trust that it's growing, even if you don't see the leaves yet. This is how impossible prayer that works begins to bloom. Let today be the day you stop pretending to be okay. Bring the real you to this prayer, the tired you, the disappointed you, the desperate you. Because God doesn't bless who you pretend to be, He blesses who you really are. And Saint Anthony stands beside the real you. This moment is about freedom. Freedom from guilt, from shame, from thinking you're too far gone. You're not. And if you don't believe that yet, just lean into Saint Anthony's faith. Borrow his belief until yours is strong enough again. That's what friends in heaven do. Your financial emergency doesn't scare heaven. It doesn't shock God. He's seen worse and restored better. Saint Anthony has stood beside beggars, business owners, single mothers and forgotten fathers. And miracles came to them all. You're no exception. Sometimes what you need is not money, but peace. And from peace, provision flows. That's why this miraculous prayer to Saint Anthony is about more than getting. It's about becoming. Becoming still, becoming rooted, becoming open to the divine movement of God. One man prayed this prayer during a foreclosure. The bank had already taken the house, but he prayed anyway. And days later, a door opened. A friend he hadn't spoken to in years stepped in. A new home, a new chance. No explanation, just divine timing. This prayer is filled with holy interruptions, the kind that show up when you least expect them. A phone call, a letter, an opportunity. That's how heaven often answers. Suddenly, quietly, completely. Trust that Saint Anthony is preparing something even now. Do not fear the silence. Miracles often grow in it. When things seem still, know that heaven is active. God does his best work behind the scenes. And Saint Anthony is already whispering your name in places you cannot yet see. What are you holding back? What haven't you said in prayer? Say it now, out loud or in your heart. Let nothing remain hidden, because only what is exposed can be healed. And Saint Anthony wants to bring that healing. That's what healing really is, wholeness returned. Are you praying for a loved one who's lost, spiritually, emotionally, physically? Place them in this prayer. Ask Saint Anthony to intercede. He's the patron of finding lost things, and that includes lost people. Don't give up on them. God hasn't. We often ask, why me? But maybe the better question is, what now? Now is when you choose faith over fear. Now is when you declare that urgent help is coming. Now is when you decide that today is not the end, but the beginning of your miracle. When Jesus raised Lazarus, he didn't do it alone. He asked others to roll away the stone. You have a part in this miracle too. Keep praying, keep hoping, keep trusting. Saint Anthony is already moving stones on your behalf. Don't underestimate the power of stillness. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is sit, breathe, and say, I trust you. In that trust, miracles are born. In that surrender, heaven invades earth. That's what this impossible request is leading to. Miracles are not rewards. They are reminders that God sees, that he cares, that he intervenes. Saint Anthony reminds us of that every time he brings comfort to a crying heart. This is your reminder. You are not alone. You never were. What you surrender today becomes your strength tomorrow. Let go again, deeper this time, and watch what happens when you stop resisting and start receiving. There is power in your prayer, especially when it's accompanied by deep surrender. If you're ready to give everything to God, type, I surrender it all into your hands, Lord. Faith without expectation is just noise. But when you believe with your whole heart that something is shifting in the spiritual realm, that's when the miracle is already on the way. This is the moment where hope becomes certainty, where prayer becomes power, where your urgent miracle becomes reality. There's a kind of trust that's unshakable, not because everything is perfect, but because you've seen God move before. And if he did it then, he can do it again. Saint Anthony teaches us to pray with that kind of confidence, not hoping for crumbs, but expecting the feast. Even now, in the unseen, heaven is aligning everything for your good. What felt like a delay was actually divine preparation. What seemed like silence was sacred construction. This is the fruit of the powerful Catholic prayer for miracles, faith that refuses to flinch. When you trust fully, you no longer pray out of panic, but out of peace. You're not begging, you're believing, you're not wondering, you're waiting with joy. That's what St. Anthony wants for you. A heart settled in God's promise, not shaken by the world's problems. Some say, don't get your hopes up. But this prayer says the opposite. Get your hopes high as heaven itself. Because the God of impossible requests has never run out of answers. And through St. Anthony's intercession, your name is already being lifted. Can you imagine what it feels like to know, truly know, that your miracle is in motion, that every tear you've cried has been seen, that every broken prayer has been gathered? That's what this miraculous prayer to St. Anthony does. It reveals the heart of a God who's already working. You don't need to understand how it will happen. You only need to believe that it will. That's what faith is. Trusting the outcome to a God who's never failed. St. Anthony doesn't ask you to explain your situation. He just asks you to surrender it. There is a power in consistency. Every time you return to this prayer to St. Anthony, it grows stronger. Your faith stretches wider. Your spirit becomes more aligned. And soon you're not just praying for a miracle, you're walking like it's already done. Confidence in the miracle doesn't mean everything looks fixed. It means you walk with joy even before the breakthrough, because faith is your evidence. It's the quiet knowing that your impossible prayer that works is already making waves in the supernatural. This is where your prayer becomes prophecy. You don't speak from your circumstance, you speak to it. You declare healing over sickness, provision over lack, peace over chaos. And St. Anthony echoes your words before the throne of God. When you live with expectancy, you attract the miraculous. You walk with grace. You forgive faster. You love deeper. Because you're no longer clinging to fear, you're anchored in faith. That's what this moment offers you, a new foundation built on unshakable trust. Finding lost things is St. Anthony's signature. But more than objects, he restores identities, hope, direction. He helps us rediscover the person we were before life broke us. That rediscovery is your gift today, and it starts with trust. There's beauty in simplicity. Lord, I believe you're doing it now. That sentence alone can change everything. Don't overcomplicate your prayer. Speak from your heart. Let St. Anthony carry the rest. This is a prayer that works instantly, even when your voice shakes. You don't have to shout to be heard in heaven. You only have to trust. Your desperate case is not ignored. It is cherished, held, handled, because you are precious to God, and St. Anthony reminds him of your faith daily. Have you thanked him yet? For the miracle that's on the way? Gratitude in advance is the highest form of faith. It says, I know it's coming, I'm ready, I believe. Let that be your song today, a melody of confidence and celebration. Even if your situation doesn't look different yet, your spirit is. That's the first miracle. A heart filled with peace, a mind filled with clarity, a home filled with hope. These are the silent signs that God is near, and St. Anthony has been interceding all along. God is never late, he's never confused, he never overlooks the faithful. Your financial advancement, your family restoration, your healing, it's not just possible, it's already begun. With St. Anthony praying beside you, the impossible is becoming visible. There was a woman who prayed this very powerful prayer to St. Anthony every night for her son's return. Years passed, but one morning he walked through the door, changed, healed, redeemed. Her confidence never wavered, and neither should yours. If your hands are trembling, lift them anyway. If your heart is uncertain, believe anyway. This prayer was made for people just like you, imperfect but faithful, weary but still standing. And St. Anthony stands with you. The world may say it's over, but heaven says it's just beginning. The diagnosis isn't final. The debt isn't eternal. The heartbreak isn't your identity. You are destined for restoration, not ruin. That is the promise this miraculous prayer today holds. When you wake tomorrow, wake differently. Wake as someone who's already received. Speak like it, walk like it, smile like it, because trust changes posture. And your posture is now one of victory. If doubt whispers, let your faith shout louder. Repeat what God has promised. Repeat what St. Anthony has already proven. That urgent help is never out of reach. That miracles are always near to the humble and surrendered. This isn't just a feel-good moment. It's a prophetic declaration that your story is turning. that heaven is not finished with you, that your best days are not behind you, they are breaking through now. You may not see the entire road ahead, but you've taken the first step. And that step is trust. The kind of trust that holds tight to this infallible prayer to Saint Anthony and never lets go. Because when you don't quit, the miracle always comes. You have prayed, you have believed. Now it's time to live like the miracle is done. Because in the eyes of faith, it already is. Saint Anthony walks beside those who walk with boldness, and today he's walking with you. If you're ready to live with confidence in your miracle, type, "It is done, I believe." Final blessing. May the light of Saint Anthony of Padua shine over your life like the morning sun after a long storm. May this powerful Catholic prayer for miracles find its way into every corner of your need and bring peace where there was once confusion. May your heart rest tonight, knowing that your urgent miracle is already in motion. The chains are breaking, the door is opening. May your home be a haven of light, protected by the grace of heaven and filled with unshakable joy. May the Lord, through Saint Anthony's intercession, bring full restoration of homes, rebuilding what was broken and lost. Let there be laughter again. Let there be forgiveness, healing, and unity where division once reigned. May your finances be touched by divine provision. No more fear of bills, no more sleepless nights. May financial advancement come not only to your wallet, but to your wisdom, your discipline, your opportunities. Let every financial emergency turn into a testimony of overflow and favor. May your body be healed. Every cell, every bone, every organ. Let this be the hour that the sickness leaves and strength returns. Through the very powerful prayer to Saint Anthony, may all pain be cast away, and may your body become a vessel of vitality and renewed life. May your mind be cleared from every dark thought, every lie of fear, every whisper of hopelessness. Saint Anthony, lift this person into the light of truth and clarity. Let them see the miracle through eyes of peace. Let there be clarity and divine focus. May your children, wherever they are, be surrounded by God's protection. May they walk in light, speak in love, and return to your arms safe and whole. Saint Anthony, patron of finding lost things, find the hearts of children who have wandered and bring them home. May broken relationships be mended through divine grace. Let bitterness dissolve. Let stubborn hearts soften. May restoration of family relationships come like gentle rain over dry land. May words of healing replace words of harm. May love be louder than pride. May the lonely feel accompanied. The anxious, calmed, the betrayed, renewed. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. This prayer is heaven's proof that God sees you and is sending comfort through the love of Saint Anthony. May your dreams be reignited, those dreams that you buried in disappointment. May they rise again, full of divine breath and supernatural timing. May this be the moment where you believe again and take the first bold step forward. May you never doubt again that this impossible prayer that works is real. May you carry its power not just today, but into every tomorrow. Let your faith increase. Let your spirit awaken. Let your heart stay full, even before the miracle arrives. May this prayer become your habit, a rhythm, a lifestyle. May you turn to Saint Anthony not just in crisis, but in confidence. Speak to him like a friend, because that's what he is. One who listens, one who acts, one who leads you straight to the Father's heart. May God open new doors for you, ones no man can close. Let your name be remembered for favor, not misfortune. Let miracles follow you wherever you go. Let your life become a testimony so great, even strangers are blessed by hearing it. May your soul remember this feeling, this moment where peace entered. Let it echo in your spirit forever. Let today be your turning point. Let this miraculous prayer to Saint Anthony be your foundation. Let this blessing never end. May the fire of the Holy Spirit burn brightly in your home, your heart, and your future. May fear have no place. May joy be permanent. May faith lead the way. And may Saint Anthony be your steady companion on every path. And may you never forget, this wasn't just a prayer. It was a holy invitation, a heavenly transaction. You gave your trust, and God released His grace. You'll never be the same, because the blessing already came. Did something stir in your heart during this prayer? What part of your life are you ready to see completely transformed? What miracle are you now expecting with full confidence in Saint Anthony's intercession? Are you prepared to live as if it's already done? Because it is. This isn't just emotion, it's a movement, a declaration that from this moment forward you walk in favor, in power, and in divine purpose. Will you continue this journey of faith? Will you speak life over your family, your finances, your body, your future? Because now that you've touched this kind of grace, you can't go back to who you were. Let this be the day you say, I will never settle for less than heaven's best. I am changed, I am chosen, I am free. This is your new beginning. If this prayer touched your heart, if you felt St. Anthony's presence, then don't keep it to yourself. Click like to show heaven your gratitude. Write Amen in the comments to seal your miracle in faith. Share this prayer with someone who needs an urgent miracle. Your mother, your brother, your friend struggling in silence. You might be the reason they find hope again. Let this prayer travel farther than your pain ever could. Subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell so you never miss another moment of heaven touching earth. Every new prayer is a new opportunity for God to speak directly to your situation. Don't scroll past. Take the blessing, share the blessing, and live the blessing. Saint Anthony is still working, and someone you love is just one prayer away from their miracle. Let them receive it now, through you.